Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for episode 4 of My Turn, and welcome to where I work. All right, so I figured we change up the scenery a little bit. Today is March 18th, right? Yeah, today's March 18th, and I'm going to call this the Bring Your Followers to Work Day and talk about OCD. Okay, I'm going to consider that a national holiday now. Yesterday was St. Patty's Day. Today is Mental Health Day. All right, so we're going to cover a lot today. I typed up a couple examples that I'm going to be looking at on my other screen over here. I typed up specific examples of what an obsession can look or feel like to a person with OCD, which then leads them to engage in compulsive behaviors. So now I'm gonna be more specific with you and talk about what it is that triggers these thoughts, which then leads them to engage in compulsions. So I'm gonna be looking away from the camera, I apologize, but I did type it up on the other screen. Before we do get started, I wanna know if anyone did the exercise from the previous video. I asked people to write down 3 things that correlated with OCD thoughts and to carry that piece of paper around with them wherever they went to for an entire week. If someone tried it, completed the exercise, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your feedback and know how it made you feel, and if it made you feel like you can understand the condition better. So please reach out to me if you tried it. Okay, guys, so today we're going to go over the examples that I typed up. I typed it up in 2 categories. Physical compulsions, right? That's the ones we can visibly see the person with OCD doing. And mental compulsions. That's what I have. Pure OCD. That's something that you cannot see. So those are the 2 categories. I typed it up in this order: the incident, the obsession, and the compulsion. So what happened to trigger their obsession, and then what behaviors and acts do they do to relieve the anxiety caused by an obsession? Because remember, OCD is a never-ending cycle. It first starts with an obsession, then it leads to a compulsion. Now, we also got to remember, compulsions are temporary relief for a permanent problem. So what happens is the anxiety doesn't go away. It's only temporarily goes away, and then goes right back to obsessions. And then goes compulsions, obsessions, compulsions. So it's a never-ending cycle. So we're going to start with mental compulsions. Let's do that one first. Incident, obsession, compulsion. The incident for this one is Alyssa is standing in the kitchen with her family and she sees a knife on the counter. Now, she starts obsessing because she gets a mental image of herself harming her family with that knife. So that's her obsession. What it causes her to feel is fear. Yeah, I said that right. What it causes her to feel is a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety because of that mental image of just seeing a knife. Now her compulsion is she stays away from the kitchen. She stays away from any knives or any sharp objects, and she'll even try to avoid watching any TV shows or movies that have to deal with murder or violence. Now, because it's a mental compulsion, remember, she doesn't have too many of the physical compulsions. So with a mental compulsion, with pure OCD, there's going to be a lot of mental checking, a lot of mental reviewing. So now she's checking to see if she has ever harmed anyone before in the past, that can answer the questions of if she is capable of harming someone. And she's also going to check to see if she will ever harm her family after having this mental image. So it all started with her staring at a knife, which then led to her obsessing. She felt fear because of that mental image. So now she's engaging in these compulsions that takes her away from her normal routine like she used to have. It all started with just staring at a knife. Now, the second example that we have is memories. It's a mental compulsion. Now, remember, obsessions are mental images, thoughts, urges or impulses, and memories. Me personally, I have suffered from the memory part of OCD, and this example that I typed up is very uncomfortable for people that have a condition like mine. Memories is very hard to deal with because it was a real life event. A lot of OCD deals with situations or events that haven't happened. It's mainly dealing with the future. Memories with OCD is called false memories. False memories is where your mind can create a situation or event that never happened, but it feels real to you. It feels like you were in it. Not only that, but false memories can actually add scenes to an event that happened in real life. So if you didn't do it, your mind will make up a scene you did do it because I remember this. And it's very uncomfortable. So the incident is there's a school teacher. Her name is Lauren. Now, Lauren helped comfort her student by putting her hand on their shoulder. Okay, so now over the next couple days, she starts feeling a little nervous because she starts questioning her memory if she touched that student inappropriately. So now her obsession is she begins asking herself if she's attracted to children and if she's always been like this. So because it's a mental compulsion of a real event that happened, mental compulsion. Now her compulsions are, she's going to do a lot of mental checking. She's going to review her memories too. She's going to try and remember as hard as she can if she touched that student inappropriately. So a lot of the times you won't find the answer. You won't find that answer. So now what she does is, because she cannot find an answer, because she can't remember if she did this, because it didn't happen, but because she can't remember or answer the uncertainty that she did not do it, or if she did do it, she now refrains from touching a student ever again. She doesn't want to be next to kids. She may even go as far as quitting her job to not be around children. All right? That's how powerful the mind can really be to make these false memories and make you believe that you did something that you didn't do. And remember, for my incident, I was going to turn myself into the police because I was convinced that I committed a crime. So memories are the hardest part about OCD because they're real life events. It did happen. You just can't remember if you engaged in this behavior or if you did something that your mind is trying to find an answer to, but it cannot. There's no answer to it. All right, so those are mental compulsions. Let's do a physical compulsion now, since we're done with mental. So the physical compulsion, let's do thoughts. Let's do thoughts. Okay, so the first one was mental images. Now we're going to do thoughts for a physical compulsion. The incident is Stephen is at work and a customer sneezes, especially during this time. I mean, it's scary for anyone to hear a sneeze or a cough. If you're that type of person that hears a cough in Target and you look to see how close they are or if they have a mask on, then you're just like me. All right, so the incident is Stephen is at work and a customer sneezes. Now, he starts becoming obsessed. He's now worried that the bacteria from that sneeze will contaminate him and he'll get sick and pass away. Regardless of how far or how close that person was, if he hears it, it triggers something in him and now he's obsessed. So what he does is he leaves the floor and he washes his hands excessively. And he may even try and go home early so that way he can take multiple showers as soon as he gets home. So the incident was he heard something, it then triggered warning, danger. These germs are deadly and you're close to it, you're in the same store as him, you need to get out of there, you need to wash your hands, you need to do this. So the incident was sneeze. He's now afraid that he's going to pass away from that sneeze, which then leads him to engage in these compulsions where he's just washing his hands excessively. And as soon as he gets home, he's going to take multiple showers in a couple hours. So that is a physical compulsion of something a person can do once they are triggered by something like that. The second example that we have for a physical compulsion is this. So Brian is at the grocery store. Actually, before I start, I want to say this is the impulsive part. So OCD also has to deal with impulses. Remember, the obsessions are impulsive as well. Brian's at the grocery store and he's in an aisle all by himself. Now, he starts feeling guilty because he had the sudden urge to steal something because there's no associate around to catch him. So then what happens is he feels guilty. Now that he knows that he is capable of having an impulsive urge to steal something, now he feels guilty that he had that thought and that he had that feeling. So what he does as a compulsion is he no longer goes into aisles by himself. And he'll even check the receipt multiple times as soon as he gets home, or maybe when he leaves the store. He'll check the receipt multiple times to make sure that everything is paid for. And if he doesn't remember purchasing an item, and if there's no receipt to it, he'll go back to the store and he'll pay for it. All right? So that's a compulsion that someone can do after feeling just an urge. We've all felt this way before. I'm sure a lot of us have stolen when we were kids. I stole Pokemon cards. It was the best thing in the world. So I'm pretty sure people that have stolen before, they know what it's like growing up you still have that sudden urge. The mind can still create these thoughts or an urge that I can steal this right now and no one would know. But for someone with OCD, that guilt can really make them feel uneasy. And you can see how far they go into leading into compulsions, where checking the receipt multiple times to make sure that everything is paid for. And if they do not remember paying for it, going back to the store, these are real life events. This is what can happen if a person with OCD has an urge to do something that everyone else has urges to do. So these are the examples of mental compulsions and physical compulsions. So all in all, they're very severe, right? They're very extreme. These are real life events or real situations that can happen to anyone. For Alyssa, she's standing in the kitchen and she sees a knife. We all have gone through that before. Every person, if you cook, you see a knife, right? Now, with OCD, the difference is that she now stays away from knives because of the fear. For someone without OCD, you're fine with it. You don't have to worry about harming yourself or harming others because that's not who you are. Her OCD is telling her that she will commit this act because of the amount of fear that she felt from that mental image. When it came to Lauren, the school teacher, that one's tougher. It's a lot harder because she actually touched her student. Not in an inappropriate way, but now she can't remember if she did touch her student in an inappropriate way. So what happens is her mind will then try and figure out if she did do it. If it didn't happen, then why are you worrying about it, right? If you do not have OCD, that's what goes through your mind. It didn't happen. Why am I worrying about it? With someone with OCD, uncertainty is why OCD is so severe. Uncertainty is the reason why it's hard for them to deal with these thoughts. They're scared of what can happen or what might happen if they don't remember this, or if they don't engage in these compulsions, or if they don't figure out what their mind is telling them is dangerous to them. So that's the hardest part. Memories are tough because it really happened. With Steven, guys, it's flu season now. It's COVID, but now it's getting colder. We're all going into stores now since everything is open. You're going to hear someone sneeze and cough. Someone without OCD, they'll just look and they just go about their business, stay away from them. Someone with OCD, just hearing that can trigger them because that can bring up the worst fears that they've ever thought of. Germophobia for OCD is really big. So Steven hearing that sneeze really triggered him to now he may not even want to go into that store. He may quit his job because he now feels that whole store is contaminated. And with Brian, like I said, we've all stolen before. If you haven't, you're a perfect Christian. If you're a Christian, you're a perfect person. If you have stolen before, you know what it's like. It's an urge that we all feel. We can get away with this. For someone with OCD, that guilt can really cripple them to where they may not even want to go to the store anymore. They may just Instacart it or have someone go to the store for them. So what I'm saying is these feelings, obsessions, are powerful. It can really make them engage in these behaviors that are unnecessary, right? But it's part of the disorder. So I hope these examples can help. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I hope I was able to sort of explain this correctly, as far as how a trigger can cause these obsessions, right? And then what their compulsions are when they're obsessed with what just happened. So contact me if you have any questions. The next video, I think I'm going to be answering the questions that the followers sent in. I recently asked people, hey, what would you like to know more about OCD, or what would you like to know more about my experience with it? So a couple people sent in a couple questions, so I'm going to dedicate a video answering their questions. So I think that's going to be in the next one. But I thank you guys for coming with me to work. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped, and let me know if you guys have questions. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.